Greetings everybody, and welcome to my Vayne guide. In this video, I'm going to be covering the most important things you need to know about playing Vayne. This will include her strengths, her weaknesses, her runes, and her masteries. After watching this, you should be able to apply these skills to yourself and see a steady increase in your skill level while playing Vayne. This video will not make you an instant Vayne god. However, it should put you on the right track to becoming a very good Vayne player. This guide is also paired up with a Vayne Advanced Mechanics video that will cover some of the more in-depth mechanics you will need while playing Vayne. A link to this video will be provided in an annotation and in the description below. Both of these videos contain information that I have learned over my last 300 or so games of Vayne, and some things that I may say may be inoptimal. These videos were created during patch 5.11. If any major changes happen to Vayne between now and when you're watching this video that make what I say irrelevant, I will update the video title to reflect that. Vayne uses a very standard set of runes. The rune page I run in 95% of situations consists of 9 attack damage marks, 9 armor seals, 9 magic resist glyphs, and 3 attack speed quintessences. Much like her runes, Vayne has a pretty standard set of masteries. You will want to be taking 29 offense, 9 defense, and 0 utility, as displayed on the screen. Particularly on Vayne, I am a fan of taking double-edged sword. However, some players favor the butcher mastery. You can pick either one, and it's really a matter of preference. If you're coming up against a lot of opponents in lane with direct nukes such as Corki, Lucian, and Graves, I would recommend using the butcher mastery over double-edged sword, especially if you're not very comfortable with Vayne's trading rhythm. For your build, you want to start with the standard 1 potion, Doran's Blade, and a yellow trinket. Ideally on your first recall you will have 1,400 gold, and you will be able to buy a Bilgewater Cutlass. However, a lot of the time, especially during a bad laning phase, you will be recalling with around 1,100 gold. In this case, I would recommend buying a Vampiric Scepter and boots, or a Vampiric Scepter and potions. Your core items should always include a Blade of the Ruined King, a Phantom Dancer or Static Shiv, Last Whisper, and an Infinity Edge. Your final build should look something like the ones displayed on the screen. In most games, you're going to want to be building Infinity Edge before Last Whisper. However, if the enemy team has a lot of mid-game tanks or a very fed late-game tank that is causing you to suffer in teamfights, feel free to buy Last Whisper before Infinity Edge. For your boots, you always want to be going Berserker's Greaves. If you're winning the game outright, I would recommend enchanting the Fuhrer. Otherwise, home guards are fine. In terms of elixirs, the Elixir of Wrath is very cost effective if you're having a lot of teamfights where you're getting kills and assists. If you're feeling very squishy in the late game, however, Elixir of Ruin will provide a lot of survivability in teamfights and a lot of pushing power. Moving on to Vayne's gameplay aspects. Vayne has a very bad laning phase. She does very poorly in lane against champions that are in the meta right now, such as Lucian and Ashe. She generally loses lane against most AD carries, especially those with nukes like Lucian and Corki. Despite popular opinion in low elos, Caitlyn is not Vayne's main counter. In fact, a good Vayne player can win lane against Caitlyn very easily. With Vayne, you don't generally want to be forcing trades. Try to play safe and farm in lane. You will eventually outscale the enemy AD carry as long as you haven't fed them. Try to capitalize on your opponent's mistakes in lane. You have very powerful all-in if your enemy makes a mistake or stands too close to a wall. With your Condemn, you can quickly stun them and kill them even though your trading is not very good. In case of a gank, just kite back and stay safe with your Condemn, using it to stun or knock back the highest damage dealer at the time. When getting a gank from your jungler, make sure you get the enemy in position to stun them with your E. This will force them to burn a summoner or die. If they have burned a summoner, make sure your jungler comes for a repeat gank, because you can very easily kill them the next time around. In the current Cinderhulk meta, where tanks are very prominent, Vayne has a huge upper hand in the mid game over other AD carries. Since she always builds a first item Bork, she can use it effectively in conjunction with her W in order to burst down mid game tanks. Your first power spike is usually around level 10, at approximately this time in an average game, you should have your Blade of the Ruined King complete. This will allow you to effectively 1v1 any AD carry in the mid game, provided they're not insanely fed. Vayne retains a lot of 1v1 potential throughout the mid and late game, and can easily kill any enemy champion provided you have good enough mechanics. After completing Blade of the Ruined King, your next big power spike is when you buy your Phantom Dancer. That will allow you to dish out approximately 45% more damage in fights. After that, you will fall off slightly until you get your Last Whisper and Infinity Edge, at which point you should completely destroy the enemy tanks and quickly burst down enemy carries. Moving on to the late game, you should significantly outdamage the enemy AD carry both in teamfights and in a 1v1 scenario. However, be careful to not overextend and get yourself killed since you are still very volatile. When fighting an assassin, it is insanely important that you utilize your E effectively, otherwise you may not be able to kill them. Teamfights are a very good environment for Vayne. With her high mobility, she can quickly switch between targets or reposition to dodge the enemy's abilities. As Vayne, you don't want to be running in first. Let your tanks initiate the fight. Once your opponents are distracted and have used some of their crowd control, you can quickly and easily clean up the whole fight. Most people will try to focus you while playing Vayne. It is very important that you have quick reflexes to dodge their abilities and condemn them against walls in order to survive. In teamfights, you shouldn't really need to focus on killing the enemy carries. When playing Vayne, it is perfectly correct to kill the enemy tanks that are right in front of you, considering how fast you are at doing it. However, if you have the opportunity to insta-kill an enemy carry, then go for it, but be careful not to overextend and die. In general, teamfighting with Vayne can change a lot between games depending on the champion that are picked. It is nigh on impossible to describe how to play her in every situation. You will learn how to behave as Vayne in fights as you gain more experience playing her. Thank you very much for watching this guide. I hope you enjoyed it and hope it helps you improve your skill and climb the rank ladder. Don't forget to check out my Vayne Advanced Mechanics video, as well as like and comment this video. I do my best to reply to all the comments, so leave any questions and queries just below the video.